Well, for those who don't know me, I'm Reichelt. I describe myself as WASP, Wiccan Australian Sensible Person. I've been hunting for a job since I graduated over 10 years ago, so I've done 10 years volunteer in the tuck shop, 9 years volunteer out at the food bank, quite a few other volunteer positions, so I've been out in the community. My motivation for doing all of this is to learn about other religions and to teach people that the pagan religions are not the horrible barbecuing babies and horrifying stories that we've heard in the past. And yes, my daughter really looks like she gets barbecued on a regular basis. And I think a lot of people have been horrified when they realise some of the experiences that people have received through this. And this is one of the reasons why I love this topic, because we are a very diverse group. We have a lot of strengths, we have a lot of skills to bring to the board, and this is one of the reasons why we should be looking at why we should be appreciating diversity, how we could appreciate diversity, and why should we appreciate diversity. And having done the introductions, we can start getting into talking.
I'll just say, short thing. I'm Jed Perkins. I'm Minister Emeritus as a Unitarian congregation in Brisbane. I've worked in various things. I've worked in the mining industry and research. I've worked at teaching lab at physical chemistry teaching lab at James Cook Uni, physical chemistry, basic and organic and also in ministry for quite a number of years. And now I would say I was arrested, now I'm fairly dusty. That's the best way to put it. I'm interested in us learning to love each other, I guess, and not judging. That'd be my thing. I would like to look at, sort of parameters. As I see the subjects about appreciating diversity, how does the community, how do we appreciate diversity? And now, both Rachel and I put our mouths in gear before our brains engage. And so I would like to have a ministry here of listening. I might throw one suggestion out, but I'd like to pass this bit of germanium sulfate around. And anybody's got that, offer suggestions. I want to put down suggestions of how in the community we can recognize diversity. That's what I understand this means. Does anybody understand it differently than this?
I thought this was a forum on peace and harmony. And something
what I didn't mention was that
I have found that there has been a great deal, like 99% talk about religion. Now this was not presented or advertised as a religious forum, it was advertised as a peace and harmony forum. And yet everyone on the panel up there has always come from some religious denomination or other. When somebody made a comment about working with atheists, I'm not sure who was on the panel at the time.
Oh, I was one who made the comment.
Oh, were you?
No, I was one who made the comment when they're talking about it.
Anyway, let her talk.
Right. I had some other comment to make, and I didn't get around to answering that one, but my feeling is that, as I said at the time, we need a philosophy of respect for ourselves and respect for others. I don't think religion has anything to do with establishing a city of peace and harmony. Religion is something for individuals, for their communities, for their churches, for their families. If you try to bring religion into establishing a city of peace and harmony, I think it's going to fall flat on its face, because religion has in the past wrecked a lot of things. And the comment in relation to Stalin being causing so much, what was the word?
Hang on, I took the
word. He killed a lot of people, right? To align atheism with that type of thing. Hitler was evil, that's why that happened. To say that is tantamount to saying that all
atheists are that evil, yes.
Yes, and it's also tantamount to saying that all Catholic and Christian priests are pedophiles because some are. Now, some atheists may be like Stalin. Not all atheists are.
Yes.
I know many atheists, right, and they're not like Stalin. And I know many Christian and Catholic priests and ministers who are not pedophiles, and yet the statement that was made, in fact, aligned the whole lot, and I don't agree with it, and I think that is where we have a problem with religion, and I'd like it taken right out of the forum altogether, and I know he's waiting to say
something. Moderator, go ahead and say, but let's not get into a debate on this.
No, but that's quite a strong statement you've made, and I do fundamentally disagree with it. And if you take what you're saying here is, I did not say all atheists are like Stalin. All I said was...
Oh, was it you?
Yeah.
Yes.
You're having a hard time.
Yes, I wrote it down as
All I said was that every tradition, including atheism, has some really nasty stuff in it, really nasty shadows. So that we have to move beyond that, and we have to be willing to act. It was actually a positive statement about, yes, I work with atheists on all kinds of different issues, that's fine. But you can't exclude anybody. Your statement about religion, to me, is bizarre, because you've just said, let's take religion out of it, keep it as a personal matter. Then you say, well, religion is in families, and so on. Religion is about, you're talking about philosophy. I would rather use the word spirituality, a way of being in the world. Now, what informs that way of being in the world? There are all kinds of different trajectories which will enable us to do that. One of them is the pagan way, and I think there's value in that. But the religious ways of the world have been around for millennia, and they have helped, as Master Chi Hung said on Thursday, to shape and to give value to our communities. So to exclude them, per se, is to go to the other extreme. It's like it's the extreme of saying religious people saying we won't have anything to do with atheists, or sort of an atheist secularist thing we won't have anything to do with religion. It's to miss out on the amazing riches and value that are there. Religion. If we would have a city of peace and harmony, we have to engage with everyone. And I'm afraid there are Christians. There are Christians, for instance.
Not up there, not represented.
Yeah, that's another issue. That's another issue. There's another issue, and I think we're probably sensitive to that. One of the issues, and I was correcting those this
How
morning.
sensitive though? This is the third forum, and it's the same.
Excuse me. We're getting into a debate. I think you put your case pretty well.
Well, I'm just responding to what
I know,
I
and I think you've been
honest.
misunderstood a number of times. But on the other side, one comment. I'm a Unitarian and I'm a non-theist. I consider myself religious, and I live between confusion and indecision. Okay? And that's what we do.
What planet is that?
And what I'm saying is that religion is good for good people. Atheism is good for good people. Okay, all right, we are talking about what we're doing here, isn't it? And have we agreed that the appreciating diversity involves religion and non-religion? Can we say it involves everybody? Okay. Now you want to speak?
Yeah.
You've got to have the rock.
I've got to have me rock. I am the rock. If we're going to appreciate diversity and all those types of things, if we're going to appreciate, if we're going to appreciate diversity and all that type of thing, aren't we going to live it here, right this very moment? So when we've got differences, do we go back to appreciating diversities, or are we waiting for the other person to shut up so I can say what I wanted to say? And that's what the rock is all about. The rock is actually generating what I say, people listen to, and I hold that rock until I understand that everybody understands what I'm saying. And then when I hand it on to the next person, they say what they say, so that I can then get to know what another person is thinking, and that is appreciating diversity.
Are you saying appreciating diversity is the ability to listen?
It's more than that. It's incorporating it into yourself. It's not just a cerebral job, which is what I'm hearing a lot. It's just cerebral. It's got to get down into your heart. And like, we're in an evolution. We're growing all the time in terms of our understanding and our living and everything like that. If we look at the traditional religions or philosophies or whatever, all of them were agrarian. They were all written when you had at least 85% of the people living on farms and in the country. Now we've got the reverse. Here in Australia, we're probably the most urbanised country in the world, and yet we're using philosophies and theologies that are based on a completely different model. So yeah, we've got a really exciting thing that's happening. It's only 200 years old. In 100 metres of the civilization, where probably even the last inch is not where we are. And yet here we are in the middle of a fantastic evolution with a great opportunity to appreciate diversity in a real sense. We're creating a new society. And that's really exciting. And if I can't listen to you, well, what's the point in my being here?
Fair enough.
When I look at this rock and other rocks which contain crystals, there are different facets on each side, and when they are tooled, each facet will shine, but it doesn't overshadow the other facets. The light comes in and it is dispersed equally. I've done a bit of lapidary, and I feel that this conference is a little bit like a crude rock, which can be faceted and polished and bring light in and issue light and love out equally from each side of the facet. That's just what I would like to see happen from this forum. Anyone like to?
So this is a community asset. I think the community asset is a very powerful thing, but we should go back to ourselves to help us to become peaceful individually. Once everybody peaceful, the community, the country will be peaceful. That's what I was going to say.
Please, if you haven't spoken, take this rock.
When we spoke of diversity, I thought there's nothing more. The word is very means a lot if you're a mother or a grandmother, because a mother needs to be very diverse in how she responds to what happens in everyday life. And I think that's what this forum is about, is that it needs to be in a peaceful way that would take this diversity on. Otherwise, everybody's going to be at loggerheads with each other, and the peace is not going to grow. So I'd like to see that when we do think about what we're going to say, to think of it in a peaceful way. How can peace be brought into our diversity, and how can I best do that with the talents that I have? And I think we've all part of a jigsaw puzzle here, and each one of us are as equally as important as the other, and without each other we cannot have that diversity, we cannot run it, because we need to appreciate each other. So it needs to be in a peaceful way, because I think we've tried the other way with wars and everything like that, and it just doesn't work. So let's try another way.
That's good.
Please, anybody over here?
Well, I feel that to actually reach peace and harmony and unity, we have to start with the children. They have to be educated in school and to appreciate the diversity, learn about all the different cultures and the different religions, so they don't grow up with any preconceived ideas that have been passed on to them by their fathers. So it's very hard in the state schools. They have religious instruction, so in primary schools. But if you're a member of the Catholic religion or the Christianity religion, you just go to those classes. I think there should be a faith, religious fast, so that they learn about every faith. So with us at the Baha'i Centre, our children learn that on Sunday morning. So they grow up with an open mind, they know about all the prophets, all the religions, and all the holy books. And we do the prayers from all those religions as well. So I think that's the stepping stone. It's all right for us to talk, but it's got to start from the base.
Anybody else here?
You want that rock? Yes.
He wants
Here we
that.
go. I've bounced before and I want to see it bounce again. Obviously, I'm not the most experienced and the most knowledgeable here, but from a youth perspective, I did pick up a lot yesterday from the group we had yesterday with the youth from Centenary Heights and St. Ursula's. I've only been out of school for 3 years, but just going back to your point, I did a non-OP religious subject because religion doesn't interest me. I respect every single other person of any religion, but it doesn't really interest me to do the OP. And the OP subject was like more essays, and I want to do that when I already hit an OP. But we still learn about all the religions. We learned, at least in this subject, it was trying to put across, that we do learn about all the religions. We say, well, this is religion, but... And it was a Catholic school, I went to St. Joseph's, and we still learned about all that. We still went every Wednesday, we still did prayer, but we still learned generally about it. We're just like, all right, well, this is what Buddhism does, this is what all these other things does, and we got an understanding of it, but doesn't mean we have to do it. But religion is, if you're religious or atheist or whatever you may be, that's your own opinion, that's your own self. And in the end of the day, when you talk to someone, that's going to reflect on who you are. And it's part of everything. It's part of society. You can't say no religion. It's part of peace. It's if you're not yourself, if you've got a religion and you're excluded, that's not peace and that's not harmony. We've got to just, my mind's all over the place. So many thoughts I got to say, but just harmony. It's about coming together, accepting for someone who they are, regardless. But you can't change, and the other end of that is you can't change someone's opinion. You can't change what you think or what you do. You can just say the best thing and hopefully, lead by example, I suppose. That was unculminated thoughts. Someone said I talk from the heart, but it gets lost between here and there.
In relation to that, I would like to go back to what I was saying before. I take on board what you have said, and I would like to correct what I said before. I think it would have been more correct for me to say that I feel that in order for a city of peace and harmony to exist, we need to be using the term which has been used repeatedly today, and that is all-inclusive. And what I have found is that we haven't been all-inclusive. We have had only religious leaders represented up there. In order to be all-inclusive, and that includes those of us who have no religion or have a spiritual feeling or a philosophical feeling, why weren't they up there on the stage? And I think that's where the gentleman over here, he was sensing anger from me because I felt left out, and I had come here in order to, because I firmly believe in a city of peace and harmony, and to put it forward as one that can only exist if it is a religious-based one doesn't gel with me. And that is where I was trying to come from. Now, you've helped me clarify that, so I thank you for that, because I think other people, whatever they are, need to be up there on that panel, and they weren't. And that I have found that very disappointing indeed. And that is where my feeling, I apologise, sir, I can't remember your name. That is where my feeling came from. I felt as though people like myself were not included. This was not an inclusive forum, it was a religious forum.
We are limited time-wise here, guys. So far we've got notes on what is appreciating diversity about. just to summarise, we're talking about respecting even outside faith, not to make assumptions about stereotype, and that it's more than just being cerebral, it's about the ability to listen. I've got one comment I've noticed so far about why we should be appreciating diversity, and one so far about how we can appreciate diversity. Now, maybe to direct the conversation a little bit towards the why, from my point of view, I've had an awful lot of negative experiences when diversity's not been appreciated. And Jed was telling me to try and work out how to put this around into the future, into a positive. And then Don Rabbi came up on Tuesday and was talking about how we need to find common grounds before we can start looking at the differences. And we need to look at, why should we appreciate diversity and how can we do it? We've done a lot of what so far, but we're trying to keep on to the topic of this particular group. So next.
Yes. What I feel is, the topic is diversity. Is what you said. Diversity is difference.
Sorry, can you?
Yeah, the diversity to me is about difference. The conference we're talking about peace and conflict. Why do we have conflict? Because we have differences. There are so many differences between those people, and I think we need to go back to the beginning. So, the difference itself doesn't conflict with each other, right? I'm Chinese, you're Australian, you're from Japan. That's okay, but the conflict comes from people's opinion or the ego, I would say, or something. Yeah, something. So that's actually conflict, right? So if we change our thinking, say to open our mind, broaden our mind to accept the differences. People are different anyway. Even husband and wife, we are all different. Everyone is unique. If we accept the difference, where's the conflict? So.
Anyone else?
Yes. Regarding how to use community assent to build this peace and harmony city, I'm thinking, is it possible so we can set up a bit more community education club sort of thing? It's not only for religion, for everybody, for different people with different cultures. And I remember another example is last year we got some culture diversity. Culture festival. And in Queen's Park, a lot of persons quite enjoying that one. And through that festival, we share the food, share the opinion, share the dress, and we all enjoy. And people just communicate and understand from that one. I think from this sort of very basic things, we can get understanding, learn from each other. I guess this is one way to use some community assets to build this peace and harmony.
They're not going to get funding next year.
Actually, I understand.
Seriously?
I talked to the Roberton before, and the Pure Land is very happy to support, financial support. But this is true. But we have to get the council to approve. Yeah, because actually the cost is not very much.
Oh look, Gertie does an awful lot with true strings budget, I can tell you that.
You ladies aren't saying anything.
Okay.
Okay.
We're focusing on why it's important to appreciate diversity and how. Got any ideas for those?
Yes, so I just want to ask a question. Do you appreciate yourself? Which one? Head or foot? Hand or foot? It's the same body. It's different, but we are same.
Yeah, it's different with the eyes, but they are all important, equal important.
There's a marvellous quote from MASH that said we all bleed the same colour.
All day, every day.
I think we need to turn things around. Sometimes the journey of Christian unity has been that people have had to learn out of pain, not to come to the table to say, this is who I am and I must be heard, but more to come to the table and say, what is it that I need to learn from you? What is it, the gift that you have that we need to be enriching on? And I think if we don't have that mentality, if we're here to drive our own agendas, it's a little bit similar to what you're saying about ego, then we're in difficulty. So it's, what is it that we need to know? It's rather than saying, oh, well, I won't have anything to do with these people, I won't have anything to do with that. If we have that in our own body, then we're in difficulty. If we can change it around and say, what is, the other night, Thursday night, I went to the multicultural film thing, and it was fantastic. We had the Congolese dancers began, and it was infectious because they drew people in, because they had something there in their culture that drew people in. It's discovering those, as you say, the facets that are part of the rock of our common humanity that I think will really so can we start to identify those and name them? And I think maybe if there's a future forum, it needs to look at, well, where are the different gifts that we want to start to affirm and celebrate together? Maybe that's what
we need to look more at how.
We need a how.
We need a how, guys. That's the hard one.
When we start to appreciate things, just random thought that came to me before was, I have a bit of a trouble like Jeff. You got a problem with deafness, industrial deafness, right? And so when you got a bit of industrial deafness and you got a Monty Python sense of humour, then Master Jing Kung sounded terribly like Mao Tse-tung. And I was thinking, he wasn't here last Thursday. And then this beautiful comment that was said, you can't change anyone else. We think that we can change other people, but the only thing you can change is to become more of yourself. That's the only thing you can do, is to change yourself, and you become more of yourself. It's when people impose upon that, and that interferes with the development of who you are, that's when we have a real conflict, and it is violent. And if we start looking at peace as starting off with the premise that even though we're having a challenge with understanding what is peace and defining it, I think we wouldn't have too many hassles in saying that violence is not an option. And then we start to look at where we are in terms of change for ourselves and saying, now I can define peace, because if violence is not an option, how do I express the positive side of that in being who I am? And our biggest challenge is that we have got things like well-known things like cognitive dissonance, and that's a talk all of its own, that people listen to the words but they're not hearing what is being said. We've got three things that we've got to do if we're going to change an attitude. One is what you think, what you feel, and what you do. So when you hear something or other, the obligation is to get into something of what you do, as well as what you feel and what you think. You've got those three things operating. The how is reasonably simple.
I've just taken a lot of notes there of what you've been saying, if you haven't noticed. One thing I've noticed when people talk about violence,
but you can make that like in haikus. They say haikus is supposed to be for the rich people, and so if they make
Salvation Army, they provide we need to have justice, policy, governance for all who are rich. All the governments use the government to help each other. So that's where the sharing of building ideas, we have to utilize them economically viable. of having people like, for example, there are so we need to have some non-government charitable something like social.
But I thought in Australia you have like centering and everything, and nobody can, everybody who doesn't work for the good, if they can settle, like in Singapore,
Just from our group point of view, we have someone here who doesn't speak English, which is wonderful diversity. So has he got any advice for that?
就是咱们几个内部的一个发展啊，全国性的也是一个国际性。像这个就也属于多元化，像这个多元化也给我们这个土王馆也增加这个经济效益。
different countries, so that part that should be great.
What we should be doing with the flower festival, maybe that needs to be mentioned on its own. That very Conwell street parade showcases the diversity we have different groups marching. It's not just about flowers.
No.
That's a very good example.
Showcase different groups.
Start from the left side and move forward.
I'm Tasberi Khan. I am living in Conwell for 4 years. I'm Sister Beryl Gleeson. I've been here 8 years. I'm in here, Rob. I've been here 21 minutes. Kim Ormsey, I've been here for 13 years. Sue Bishop, I've been here for 12 years.
Okay, the group. I'm one more than Gwen. I've been here 43 years. And I'm sorry I haven't, this is my first time at the forum because I had an accident 2 months ago and I barely fought since the accident. So I'm very glad to be here amongst you all.
Again, my name is William Conwell.
Don't take him too seriously.
Oh, he's a grammar boy.
We're at school about the same time.
Is important. Now the next question is, what is diversity? What do you understand by diversity? Okay, we talked about what is diversity. Well, diversity could be, I mean, as I understand, diversity, okay, we are all human, number one. We are all human. And diversity is brought by human. Okay, the religion, the culture, the traditions, the practices, family building, they are all man-made. Okay, God created one, we are all one. I mean, regardless of religion, we are all one human being. Okay, and diversity is the difference between each human, his culture, his tradition, his way of living, way of eating. That's diversity. And then how you bring all together.
This is why Australia is a diverse country because of the immigrants.
Yes.
It's before it was a diverse country by itself because of the Aborigines culture. Now more than 600 languages during the British when they came here. Then they come in after the multiculturalism and the coming of the migrants all over the world, they contribute, they bring with them the wealth of riches to reshape the fabric of the country.
It's me, Dorothy. Identifying what assets we have will then move on to how we can better utilize what we consider to be our most high priority assets for recommendation purposes. Okay? So, we'll just put that out there and continue on. If you don't have anything, we can come back.
I think we have a number of organisations that are really helping a multicultural community in many ways, such as trans multicultural community,
This is other, just want to be homogeneous. So this is like, I think there's something that people like in those things as well. If you become isolated and keep on getting intermarried among each other, you will diminish, you will never grow, finish off. And one because you finish off that diversity. Inbreeding is not
all sorts of things. Well, our ancestors have gone to a lot of countries to get to this country, they've been all around the world. And they've been... Yeah, well, yes.
Who got foresight to look into interest and said, okay, what happens when we all run that? What happens to mingle from out in Australia? We're in a prime position because we
think they did travel.
Heather, it is very enriching. You come to know different cultures, different dances, different musics, foods, whatever. It makes life so much more interesting. And then you must be for that as well, because there are certain people that don't want to participate, but there's a very small minority of them.
So which makes life more interesting.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
And also, I think diversity also we get integrated, because once we are diverse, then we try to integrate and make our lives more purposeful.
Yeah, diversity to me, I appreciate diversity because it makes life more interesting, and I think that we learn ideas from each other.
What kind of ideas?
New ideas about things to think about why we do something, whether it's a good idea or not.
I reckon diversity helps interaction between, with musics as well. It can coincide with other musics and become something completely different and wonderful.
So you sort of mix and then become something.
Yeah, you can mix within the diverse sections of them and make something even more.
Okay. Sure. You've got friends behind you.
She said hi.
And we're trying to be safe. Okay.
I agree with what everybody was saying, but I pick up on the point over there. I think diversity also stops complacency. Because if we're all the same, we do the same thing over and over again, we just become complacent. And in a society like ours, complacency is just no growth at all. I've noticed with music, with young children, they just listen to one type of music. You try and introduce another type, not interested. But they become very complacent about what they're listening to. They don't even listen to the words half the time. So it can stop
assets within our community and how they are being used. So, for instance, all of us around the table have a bit of cultural background, and what are we bringing to our community in the sense of an asset from our cultural background, you know, that kind of thing. What's already...
More understanding than anything, I mean, by the people that use these services. If that makes sense. Yeah.
I think that'd be amazing.
William, if you are saying our cultural and religious assets?
The community. So I only give an example of where this comes from. It comes from us coming from other places, bringing what we have to this community and seeing what kind of assets we are as someone from a different country or something. What is actually here as a benefit. So it's not necessarily the individual doing it, but you know what could you identify out there already?
As a religious asset, I can speak about Muslim, you know. We can't drink. So there is a big problem in Australia now, drinking, you know. The media, those are rich, the companies, they are selling the drink. And young people, they are drinking, and then the police are involved. Hospitals are overloaded by the patients, you know, they are fighting each other. So if we take this one religious asset out, that we will not drink. So I think this is a big impact in every side, you know. So we have to control ourselves.
So from the Islamic perspective,
we can't drink ourselves, you know.
The idea of no alcohol.
No alcohol, yeah. So it reduces all the problem
within the community.
When we spoke about it,
and not only Islam, I think in Christianity they also discourage to drink too. No, but in Islam it is prohibited. You can't drink.
People with different cultures, different ethnicity, and I was literally going to the fact of an asset, and I think as a visitor I've noticed you've got beautiful parks. Now why not on a weekend, on a specific time of the year or whatever, have your festivals, you know, showcase it to the people, to the rest of the community, what you can do with your festivals, you know, and everyone's involved.
We have a big one here.
Yeah,
Languages and Cultures Festival.
Okay.
That we have.
But you know, sometimes when you have it together as a big one, it's only during that time of the year. But there are individual festivals that happen at different times of the year, so you can't wait for that particular time. So when that is happening,
there is an increase these days. Like even today, there's a harmony event going on in Gavin. And so yesterday there was Toowoomba Regional Council. The day before that
so
was
that's very good. You've got lots of things happening.
So different things, and that's in the month of March because on a national scale, it's Harmony Day for the whole of the month. Organizations can do different things through the month of March. So it is something, but I take note that it can be increased and possibly have little festivals going on within separate communities.